Hey guys, what's up? You're tuning into Arm Wrestling Explained. I'm Apollo, and today we're going to get into the techniques and the depths of the top roll in arm wrestling. This is a new series I started called What the F is in arm wrestling, and now we're at What the F is top roll. I'm here with Rafi, and yeah, he's a beginner, and we're gonna teach you how to top roll for beginners. If you want to go more into the advanced, into the real depths of the top roll, that's gonna be the second part of this video, and that's gonna be with Bruno. One of the most important parts in top rolling is your stance. How do you approach the table? How do you set yourself most optimal for your top roll? So you want the hip, the right side or the left side of the hip, the one that corresponds to your right arm, to be closest to the table. So you put one leg forward, okay? Now, because the arm wrestling is almost a full body sport. It's not just about the arm going like this, it's about your whole body moving with it. So if you go sideways to move with your whole body, you don't want to block yourself here with your arm. That's why you want to go all the way down to your knees, almost like squatting. Just going down like so, and kind of finishing the movement of top rolling. So, Rafael, give it a try. Really go down low as you possibly can. Because, yeah, perfect. That's the optimal end position that you have for top roll. So, you don't want to end up just side pressuring through and just like, pinning him like this, the opponent like this. You want to go through the whole motion, squat down, and that's how you get the pin. And for anchoring, you get your hips close, and you don't want to start too much on top of the table. For an inside move, perhaps, that's more efficient because that's the quickest way of getting in a hook or the quickest way of getting in a press. But for a top roll, your end position is somewhere outside here. This is your end position. So it makes sense to start a bit further into that direction. So if I'm attempting to a top roll, I'm not gonna start right here. I'm actually gonna set myself with my elbow, almost already squat before I'm pulling, and then I wanna go down. So yeah, let's start with the basic setup. So a top roll in arm wrestling, it uses the hammer strength here, which is your brachioradialis and your brachialis, a little bit of a biceps, and it's used to either post up or you use your lats and you drag back. But all the pressures that you're using are going away from the table. So you're either leaning backwards like this or pulling towards you like this. So if we grip up, we have three things we have to watch out for. One is our fingers, that we go back, but we don't want to lose our fingers. So for example, if he top rolls as well, my opponent, and I top roll, so I go backwards, but I don't hold my fingers, I will lose my wrist, and therefore I will get pinned. So you want to keep your back pressure, the pressure going backwards, tight. You want to keep your fingers tight, and then you want to go sideways and roll. That's why it's called a top roll, because you're fighting for the top, this part here, and then you're rolling into the fingers of your opponent right here to pin them and to easier pin them. So, Rafi, let's see what you got. Yeah. And here, watch out for your fingers that I can't escape. So try it again. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And another one. Yeah, and watch out for your fingers again. Yeah, don't escape. Perfect. Yeah, that's the basic concept behind it. Because the fingers of an opponent are most likely going to be weaker than their arm. That's why I don't attack their arm by going sideways or going with my biceps. I'm using all my strengths and all my vectors to go outside, back away from the table from my opponent, and to drag him out as much as possible from the position. So I'm trying to open up this angle here, and the farther I open up this angle, the farther I put pressure on the tip of his fingers, the easier I'm going to pin him. Because if I would try the same thing but go like really close to him and not roll out, just go sideways, I would have a much more difficult time. So again, make sure to keep all your angles tight, meaning you keep this angle tight here, your lats are tight, and you try to even bend your wrist maybe perhaps, okay? So yeah, set up, everything is tight as you can see, tight lats, tight angle here, fingers are holding strong, and now he's gonna roll into my fingers, yeah. And once he has this position here, your opponent is most likely not going to be able to defend against it. And that's the basic concept of a top roll. Now we have the strap as well. The strap is here. The strap happens, or you need the strap in arm wrestling if, for example, in most cases, both athletes or both opponents are top rollers, but the fingers are not as strong as the back pressure, the pressure that's going outside. So if we both go outside now, we will slip, because I cannot hold on to his power and he cannot hold on to my power. And that's what we need the strap for. Now, the top roll in the strap is quite a bit different from the top roll without the strap, just on the table, which is more for the advanced part of this video. So we will dive back. The strap is more for the advanced portion in this video, so we will dive back into that later. Now, what we showed you right now is the posting style. Rafael likes to do the posting style, which is anchor yourself on your elbow and lean backwards like this. Now, that's normally better for someone with a longer forearm to really post back and use the leverage that they have. But for someone maybe with a shorter forearm or stronger fingers, but not as strong of a back pressure or a hammer curl, they can drag back. A dragging style top roll is when I engage my cup and I drag back and then I pin. So my elbow moves quite a bit. If I have the posting style top roll, my elbow will go forward. That's the way I'll try to open up his fingers. But if I have a dragging style, my elbow will actually go backwards to open up his hand, to open up this angle, and then I drive sideways. So let's try, or Rafael, try the dragging style, and let's see which one suits you better. Try to give a lot more pressure in your cup and drag back, yes. And try to drag your elbow to the side of the pad so you can use it more efficiently. Perfect. Again, don't forget your fingers, yeah. Perfect. And that's where you'll see a lot of top roll matches that end up going for over a minute or so. They're not between two posting style top rollers, because most of the time, if it's a posting style top roller versus another posting style top roller, the one who takes the height, the rising, just the higher ground, or the finger or cup of the opponent, he will ultimately win. But if we were both to drag back, now it's relying a lot more on the cup and our back. And it's more difficult to finish because I have a longer way of going outside of my opponent's hand, because my pressure is not going immediately into the fingers, but at the same time I'm pulling back his back pressure. So that's how matches get more stuck in the top roll. Yeah guys, that's the first part of this video, the beginner's version. Thank you, Rafael, for helping me with this part. And now we're gonna go into the advanced version with Bruno. Yeah, that was it for the beginner part of this video. Now we're going to the advanced section. So if you've been arm wrestling for a few years, or you have a more broad knowledge of arm wrestling, this is going to be a lot more interesting for you. I'm joined by Terremoto Bruno. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Never seen each other before.
Yeah, never met.
Yeah, we're going to go more into the depths of what there is. So if you already know what a top roll is, you know there's the low hand top roll, there's a dragging top roll, there's a posting, rising, Hermes style top roll. There are different variations of the top roll, but we're going to go a bit deeper into different sections. So first, we're going to start off with the strap, Bruno's favorite tool in the bedroom. So we're gonna tie it around like so. I hope you guys know how to tie a strap. I mean, if you're in the advanced portion of this video, you should be able to know how to tie a strap. But what we're gonna hold it right there. Thank you. What we're gonna do right now is try to set up the most optimal for the top roll in the strap. Because once you're tied into the strap, there's very little movement, very little things you can do. So the setup, while the referee is tying you up, is most important. So what you want to achieve as a top roller, or mostly as, actually in every move, but mostly for the top roll, you want height and you want to be as deep in your opponent's fingers as possible. So Bruno is going to showcase this right now. He wants to rise up here with letting his elbow being put down, yeah, rise up. So we have webbing in arm wrestling, which is this here. This is called our webbing, and it has to be at equal height. At least that's what the referees want. But the referees, most of the time, they don't care too much, so you have to fight for your own setup. So if I want to win against my opponent and get the most, or I'm not sure that I'm going to beat him, I want the most advantages I can get, which is going high up, that my webbing is higher, and that I'm deeper into his fingers. So the most optimal position would actually be somewhere here, but that's not going to be a legal start. But I want to get as close as possible to this position that the ref allows me to. So I don't want to be fair, right? I want to be up here and close to his fingers. So if we tie this up, so here. So if we tie this up, Bruno, be normal for a sec, I'm the cheater.
Okay.
If we tie this up, I should be immediately right up in his fingers, and I should be able to top roll him a lot easier than if I wouldn't be able to do that. Bruno, you need some help with the strap, or?
It's my first time.
Your first time with the strap?
Some patience, please, because I'm a beginner.
Yes.
You could help also, you know.
I thought you would be able to know how to tie strap. So wait, I'm the cheater, so I'm going up and back with my, like almost like a low hand. Even though if I'm setting up for a posting style top roll, I still want that depth into my opponent's hands and fingers and upwards. Okay, so I'm going to give him the upwards and backwards pressure. Okay, now if we close our hands, you can tell immediately his riser is going to be dumped by my riser, and I think you feel pretty uncomfortable, right?
Yes, especially here in the strap.
Yeah.
It's really high on my riser.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want this strap to be as low as possible, so you have the most riser, which is what he has.
Yeah, so you want this strap to be back here, because now it's actually pulling down on his riser. If I move up, his riser automatically gets pushed down a lot, which is pretty bad for him. Now, of course, this setup is not the best. If, for example, if I would try to go inside and hook him, because by going backwards, I don't have as much coverage on his fingers as well, on his hand and wrist as well. So I'm giving up my ability to cup and to hold here for my ability to pronate even farther into my hand, into my opponent's fingers and hand. So let's close up. And now it's a lot easier for me to top roll him. Now, if you find yourself being in that position, so for example, your opponent is high up and he has the much better grip, like right now I feel super uncomfortable. There are a few things you can do to prevent that. So first, what you could do is lift up your elbow, like, you know, Jody Lorette told Danny Prudnik to put his elbow down. That's kind of what he was achieving. So if I have a really bad grip, I will lift my elbow and I will rise up. Like, for example, especially if my opponent's arm is a lot longer than mine, I can't just set my elbow down and go higher than him, because that's physically impossible. So what I need to do is, I need to rise up with my elbow, rise with my riser, and try to get back the depth or into my opponent's fingers and hand. So I'm going to go up. You can even bend your wrist back a little. That's what Devon calls the kickback. You can back up and then regrip. Tell the ref to tighten the strap. And now I'm again in a much better position. Of course there are different styles of top rolling. If you're someone who is more based on their outside moves, on the back pressure, on the pronation, you want that higher grip. You want to be as far away from the other person as possible. Someone like Bruno, who has a quite short, stubby forearm, he would want to go a bit deeper because he can't just rely on going backwards like this. He needs a lot of his cup to be able to top roll. That's what we talked about in the beginner section, which was more the dragging style top roll. While I'm a posting style top roller, Bruno is a dragging style top roller, so he actually needs that coverage. Of course, actually he wants both. He wants depth and coverage. But he needs the coverage more than I do because he relies on his wrist and his cup. Okay, show them your dragging style. Yeah, so he grips a bit lower and he doesn't post up like this. He drags back and pronates. Yeah. Now, there's another setup for this strap. I call it the Ryan Bowen setup, which is a video that Ryan Bowen once posted. I don't know where he got it from, but it has helped me in my tournaments as well. Let's switch sides for a second. I can show you better from this angle. So, we want to achieve the things we achieved right now in the strap, okay? But the referee is not going to allow this kind of cheating or this kind of movements if it's a very strict ref, or if your opponent knows what they're talking about or knows their strap game. They're not going to let you just go high and start over here. They're going to fight you, or they're going to tell the ref to put your elbow down, etc., etc. So you want to create an illusion for the ref that everything is fair, and for your opponent as well. Mostly this works if you have the longer forearm, okay? So what you want to do is, because once you're tied into the strap, you're pretty much fixed in that position. It's very difficult to move out of the position you're in. So the best position, of course, would be if you could get in a strap, but be like this. But no ref is going to let you strap up like this. So what you do instead is you just move your entire body into this position. Stays the same. You just move your body so it looks like you're being fair, like so. Now, right now, fight a bit, go a bit up, like for the setup. Now I'm actually cupped and fully pronated.
You can even put your elbow a bit forward.
Yeah, I'm cupped, fully pronated. And it looks somewhat like it's a fair grip, because the referee sees, okay, it's straight, but actually, if I would go back up in the normal position, I would be starting here. So we're going to attempt to try that. So I'll be setting up not even higher than him. I'll just be setting up like this, in the strap, okay? So even though I have the buckle, Bruno will feel rather uncomfortable. Okay, so strap us in. It may look very awkward, and it is very awkward, and people are gonna think, what the hell are you doing? But it works. So nice. So I'll be setting up like so, and now, even though now Bruno got the depth into my fingers, so he cheated as well. Let's see which one worked best. So now it doesn't look too good for me. But if I straighten myself up, Bruno feels very bad, because he can feel the strap is immediately trying to get his wrist back. He's trying to bend his wrist back, and my pronation is almost locked in tight, and that's an easy day for me. So, kind of repeating it again, this is the starting position you want the strap to be tied in. So, you want to be, this is neutral grip, so I want to be fully pronated, wait Bruno, fully pronated. And then I go like this. So he has this cup back, but I'm fully pronated. Here, I have a lot of cup, but since I put it into this angle, the ref thinks it's almost like an optical illusion that my wrist and my hand is actually straight. So now we tighten it even more. And now, as soon as the ref says ready go, or before, like 1 second before he says ready go, I go back into my normal position. He feels horrible. There's nothing he can do anymore except, just open the strap. And the referee says, ready, go. And I already got him in a much worse position for him. If you find yourself in a really bad position, like Bruno is right now, there is one thing you can do. Even if it costs you a foul, same as Devin says, a foul is better than a win. Just open the strap, say I'm out of here, or get a foul, whatever. The ref is going to be mad at you because it's going to cost him a lot of time, but it's better than you just losing through an unfair setup. So let's switch back with this old switcheroo. So since Bruno is actually a very good low hand top roller or a dragging style top roller, he's going to dig into a few aspects of his specialty, and afterwards I'm going to dig into more aspects of posting and posting low handing. So take it away, Bruno.
So to me, what's most important is the cup, and I think especially the beginners, they just focus a lot on back pressure and pronation, and they have probably like a lot of times difficult to finish people. And because when you don't focus on the cup, actually your pronation is not so effective. Because if I'm like this and I'm pronating into nothing. But ideally, I want to cup first, and then I have this connection for the pronation, and then I can finish. But it really depends on the length of the arm and what are you strong. And for me, when I go against Apollo, he's always much higher, and his riser, even though I think my riser is a bit stronger in the weights, because of the height, it's just very hard for me. And it's not as effective for me to go and try to go further. I want to get as deep as possible and as high as possible. And it's very important for me to go into the straps, because then I have all of the connection.
Mm-hmm. Because the cup works a lot better and is more functional in the strap.
Yes.
Because most of the time, especially the higher the weight classes there are, and especially for top rollers, the hands get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, and then it's until almost the level where it's impossible to hold on to your opponent with your fingers. So imagine just your opponent's hand being this big. You're never going to be able to just hold him with your fingers. That's why you need the strap to lock in tight. Unlike Bruno, who kind of relies a lot on his cup to top roll, I almost top roll with no cup. So I solely rely on just the ability to go backwards, to rise, or if my opponent's arm is shorter, I can low hand them. So because then I don't need my rise to have the high ground, because if my forearm is so much longer, I can get the high ground without rising, just by pivoting and then going to the pin pad. Of course, every technique has their caveats. For example, my problem or my issue is, therefore, I'm going so much outside that once a person has a strong cup or a strong biceps, it makes it very difficult for me to finish them. So for example, if Bruno has a very strong biceps, and I attempt to go backwards just with back pressure and top rolling just with back pressure, not going sideways or not going with my cup, I will go outside and then I will lose my cup because he pronates and I'll be stuck in this position. So even if I dominate the high ground here, all he has to do is kind of drag and reverse top roll. So I got the high ground, I got his wrist, and then my wrist goes back, and that's how he's going to pin me. Of course, the glamorous positive effect of only posting and only going outside is the fact that I don't have to train my wrist or I don't have to train my cup. So it saves me a lot of time and it focuses all my power into one direction. It's kind of like a one-trick pony, because if it doesn't work, I don't have a lot of options if I don't train my cup, so to say. But if I know my opponent is strong or weak, at some point it makes me just focus solely on one vector, on one direction, which is going up and then sideways.
And if I can continue, there is nothing you can do, because you don't have the cup, you don't have the back pressure, you don't have anything.
With Bruno's style of more of a back pressure top roll, even if his back pressure is not stronger than my back pressure, he can actually combine his cup and his back pressure to fight just my back pressure. So if he's smart, he's not going to go rise and rise with me and go for the top. He's going to try to cup me in while I go topwise, then he goes sideways, and I lose my position, and I ultimately lose my match.
But also I must say what's very dangerous with my style is if you're also posting and I'm trying to match, and I think you're gonna top roll, but you jump in and get me inside, because I'm so deep and I'm so high that this gets super vulnerable. So you have to make sure when you're doing this style that the guy is gonna top roll you and not jump in and hook.
But luckily for Bruno, since my cup is not that strong, he's not gonna have that issue. Of course, every person is different, every person has a different style, and the most effective style would be to be strong everywhere.
Yeah.
So if my opponent, for example, is a top roller and he is very good at fighting other top rollers, I can switch to a hook or I can switch to a press, and it will overwhelm him. And I don't want to go where I'm strong as a arm wrestler. I actually want to go where my opponent is the most weak. And that takes a lot of time figuring out, and all the nuances in the setup you will figure out where your opponent is strong and where he's weak. Another thing for a kind of more posting style is if somebody attempts to hook you, and we haven't talked about hook versus top roll yet,
Sure.
is of course a reverse hit. Meaning most hookers or most pressers, if they want to engage with their cup, they're gonna shoot forward. Let me get the cup first. They're gonna shoot forward and then drag you back. So they're gonna leave a little bit of space here, because this space is the space they don't need to fight you. Because as soon as it's ready to go, they're already here. So they're practically starting curved in. So as a top roller, you want to always fill this gap. If you know you're pulling against a hooker who is setting up like this, you want to fill this gap as much as possible, so I don't have like a free pass into getting my position. Now, if I do get this free pass and I'm here, that's what Bruno can do very well, is the low hand reverse top roll. So what you want to do is you kind of mimic a C pattern on the pad, meaning your elbow is going to draw a C, the letter C, and you're not going to go sideways onto your winning side, you're actually going to pull back onto your losing side to get your opponent's wrist, and then that's the first part of the C, and the second part of the C is then you go onto the winning side and pin. So I'm going to attempt to hook, and Bruno is going to do the reverse hit drag top roll. So I'm going to go inside, he's going to reverse, and then he's going to hit sideways. So if he wouldn't do that, and I have the space here as a hooker, I'm going to be inside and I'm going to pin him. But if he knows that I'm going to hook, he's going to prepare to put all his pressure and all his strength into my little finger. While I attempt to hook, he's going to open my wrist, and then he's going to fight my side pressure and go sideways, ultimately pinning me. It could also be that you need a lot of cup for this movement, because you're not only protecting your pronation, you're at the same time cupping in your opponent's pronation. Because even on a hook, you need pronation. So if he would only go outside and not cup in my pronation, I could maybe flop him, or I could even attempt to top roll him when I see the hook is not going to work. I'm going to top roll him. But if he keeps that cup in and I try to hook him, there's no option for me, because he takes my cup and my pronation, and then I'm just fighting him.
Blocking him here and also here.
And my wrist is totally gone. Now, if you don't have such a good cup or such a strong cup, one thing you could do is in the setup, okay, Bruno, I want you to rise as much as possible. So if you have the hooker, you want there to be no gaps, and you want to be as far as possible into the fingers, similar to how you were set up in the strap. So I'm the hooker here, and he's gonna give so much pressure into my little finger, because hookers like to initiate the hook with the little finger. He's gonna pressure all his power right there, and he's gonna actually already pronate me before we even start. So he's gonna give me a very big pressure load here, and as soon as before it starts, he's already pressuring me, and as soon as he starts, Bruno's just gonna go sideways, like this. And there's not a lot I can do, because my wrist is almost kicked back already. So, guys, that was it for our What the F is top roll. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, we gotta flex. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any more questions regarding the Toproll, I'm happy to answer them in the comments below. Or if you have any new video ideas I should try out, I'll try to do whatever I can to get back to you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a like and peace.